All right, everybody. Good evening, good night, good morning, good afternoon, whenever it is you tune in. Hope all is going well for you. Well, we had some, I wouldn't say technical difficulties, rather physical difficulties getting here. Um, so that's why we're a little bit late to the show, but we just wanted to say that Trey is sorry.
Very much, very much.
This is 100% on him. I was ready at like 4:30. Um, it is now 6:30. I've been sitting here in the same spot just trying to fight flies or gnats in my room. I had food that I wanted to enjoy. It is now cold, and it is now being covered in a t-shirt because of all the times I've had to spray this gnat sprayer all over my room. So most of my room is now sticky. Um, oh yeah, the biggest thing is that Trey can't even do the challenge tonight.
um, I'll let you guys know about that in a minute after he finishes our nice intro. How you guys doing? How you doing?
Who is here right now in the chat? I just want
Um,
to see, just to gather around, just to list the names. Go on, say
Andrew,
whatever you want,
JB.
because those are some people that have they
Uh,
they they tuned in earlier, you know, unaware of what was actually taking place because we had someone in here as early as 4:30, and then 5 o'clock because I had to adjust the time in there, and then 6 o'clock because I had to adjust the time, and now we're here. So I just want to just a quick show of hands as to who's available for us right now, and just who's going to be able to witness what I'm about to say.
um, so supposed to do the Mayo challenge last week. Um, well, this week, today, now, an hour
Yeah.
ago.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
What's up, Bernard?
and kind of had some problems with that. So first, I don't eat mayo. None of my family does, other than my mom. Well, no, she doesn't really eat mayo. And yeah, so I was gonna take, I think like 7, 8 shots of the sourest lemonade that we have, um, and then drink some steak sauce right after that. And my brother had his championship game today at Georgia Tech. They won 20-18, and I was told that right after we were going out to eat. I'm telling you all this because I love you all and you're my Falcon family. So I feel comfortable with telling you this. Um, where was I at? Yeah, so I was told we were going to go out to eat after, and we didn't, which is why I'm here. You may be wondering why I'm here an hour late, hour and a half. Um, so on the way there, supposed to go to Applebee's, didn't do that. Supposed to go somewhere else, didn't do that. We're supposed to drink the coffee. Uncle doesn't want to let me. Um, so now I can't do the challenge. I'm an hour late. I don't want to be over here. I would rather be, much rather be at my house right now. Um, yeah, 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 it's just how life goes, man. Throws things that you really don't expect at you. But yeah, yeah, I'm gonna double my punishment next week. Um, so it'll be the steak sauce and the lemon juice, and then I'll drink some coffee. If I don't have mayo, I'll put mustard or ketchup in it, and I'll do that for you all next weekend. Even though we're on a bye week, still gonna go live to just do a little mid season recap, and Yeah, let's get to the very normal Atlanta Falcons versus Arizona Cardinals game that we're all looking forward to.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna start off by saying Trey texted me Wednesday. He first of all let me know that all right. So we have no mayo, and no one in the house eats mayo. So what I'm gonna do is take 7 to 8 small shots of lemon juice and drink some steak sauce. Sound good? That's what he texted me. And I said, "Is that equivalent to what? Is that the equivalent to what you came up with? What about bananas? Because if we're on the subject of Will Levis, he eats bananas with the peel and all, right? So I can just take a couple bites of a banana with the peel and all."
Actually,
He then tells me that he has apples and salad. All right. So then I'm like, all right, well, he's not thinking of that scenario. So let me just go ahead and try to figure out where he can find mayo where he doesn't have to spend money and where he doesn't have to get a whole thing at home, right? Because first of all, mayo can probably be found at a dollar store. So there's that. Another part on which you can find it is at most fast food locations, they will have mayonnaise packets. So if you decide to go to a fast food place, you can ask for mayonnaise packets along with some other sauces. Okay? So there was that. On top of which, you have other locations, such as a McDonald's, in which you can get a drink, any size drink, for $1, which includes coffee. So to have one trip of coffee and asking for mayonnaise packets is all that was required to do in a span of 7 days. I just want you to know that you had more time to prepare for this job and for this challenge than Josh Dobbs had time to prepare to face the Falcons. Okay? I just want to let you know that all you had to do was just either go to a fast food location, go to any place that had mayonnaise into it. You didn't have to get a whole entire thing. I just needed you to get a couple of drops to put in a small cup of coffee the same way that I did. And since we couldn't do any of that, we are now here with nothing to show for it, no camera, no challenge. And now I'm just gifted the promise of either having you witness for another 7 days of this challenge, doubled down, or a pre-recorded message that which I can now be sent in front of everyone else on the stream. Are we all caught up now?
Yeah. Yeah.
Back to Kyler Murray. So we're facing a 1-8 Cardinals team, but obviously the record doesn't matter because they've been without their starting quarterback and they've been without their running back for a couple of games. So I can't take the record seriously because we don't know what their offense is going to be without the starting quarterback. So I can't take a look at any previous stats of what their offense would have looked like against them. So the only thing in which I can take a look at is maybe their defense because their defense hasn't really changed. Now, one thing that I did notice in my ability to have extra time allotted to me for this research is their average field percent. Let me take a look here. Percentages of drives ending in an offensive score. Their defense has given up a 44.3% chance of scoring. That is second worst in the NFL. All right. What that also amounts to is average points scored per drive. Their opponents have scored 2.4 on average, which is 31st, second worst in the league. Okay? So, by all accounts, this game should be the easiest defense, or at least one of the easiest defenses we will come across for our offense to score. What that then provides us is with the ability to get confidence for our offensive skill positions, because the only thing that I'm worried about as far as our defense is containing Kyler Murray in some form of capacity. I don't care about his throwing stats. We've been pretty good on as far as like pass defense for the concepts outside of a couple busted up coverages, which everybody has to deal with. So other than that, I'm not too worried because Josh Dobbs didn't beat us solely in the air. He beat us because we couldn't contain him in the pocket. So what I've developed was an idea that might help us in terms of our line alignment, our positioning, as far as like our defensive structure, and the assignments that we can naturally let everybody have. And having to do that without Grady was a bit of a challenge because, let's face it, Grady's one of the best defensive tackles in the league, even if the stats don't always agree. But David Onyemata should be here. He's coming back from an ankle injury, so he should fairly be used sparingly enough.
50-50.
Everyone else is relatively fine. So what I've concocted was this idea that I don't want Kyler Murray to beat us in terms of his scrambling abilities. All right. So what I was thinking of, I was kind of doing this on my lunch break. Not today, but the other day. So for those of you that don't know, I'm left-handed, right? So when I throw a football, the left tackle is in front of me, right? The right tackle is behind me. The right tackle is my blind side. But anything that I would think about in this scenario can be applied just the reverse way. It's just my vision kind of has to be flipped. All right. So if I'm a scrambling quarterback, one thing that I would want to prepare for is anything that would go on behind me, because that is my blind side. And if I hear footsteps, then that might cause me to move if I'm not comfortable with it. So what I'm going to do is I'm either going to step up in a pocket or I'm going to circle around the left tackle to try to get myself more space. Why that's so important for Kyler Murray is because he can't step up in the pocket because then he can't see his receivers. So he's going to have no choice but to bounce around or find a gap in between the left tackle, or like for me, like my left tackle or my left guard, for him, right tackle, right guard, and then try to find a lane to slither into that way. So if you guys want to stop a scrambling left-handed quarterback, here's how you would do it. Because I put myself in this position where, all right, we have a solid rush, not a great one, not a quick one, but just a solid power rush on the left side for me. All right, behind me is probably going to be a speedster to let me hear those footsteps early. That causes me to bounce to the outside. And what could await for me but maybe a corner that's going for a containment, a defensive end that's doing a stunt around the defensive tackle, or what I just noticed that someone did against Buffalo, a safety spy that would come down in coverage and then take away the legs of the quarterback that way. Why this is so important is because if I'm trying to scramble and try to create plays, I need the involvement of my offensive line still to buy out that extra time. Because if I'm just simply scrambling to my left, I'm going to run out of space soon. And not every receiver is going to be heading that direction. So I'm probably going to either scramble where I have more receivers in my favor or where I have more space where I can see. If I block both of those options, where it's both like I have nobody here and there's no space for me to go, then I can't go that direction. And I can't break out of the tackle. Now, putting this in Falcons Cardinals terms is if I'm Kyler Murray, if I'm the right-handed quarterback, who I want for us against the right tackle is Calais Campbell. I don't want him circling the other side, okay, because he's not going to be quick enough, right? We saw this in the beginning of the game where he had the power at the very beginning to like cause the safety to Josh Dobbs for him to bounce out, but eventually he got exhausted. So I don't want that to happen to him. So I'm just going to cause him to sit right there in front of the right tackle. Now you can chip him against the tight end or whatever. That's fine. I don't care because he's got height, he's got the length, and he's got the power so that I can't really deal with him if I'm a quarterback, right? Behind me might have to be a speedster like Arnold Ebiketie. Now, I noticed that we kind of had him in containment as kind of like that flat or covering the flats where he was the cause of that forced fumble that Josh Dobbs had that Lorenzo Carter picked it up and went to the 2-yard line for. He was there, like he wasn't necessarily a rusher, but he was kind of like in preparation if the quarterback decided to scramble. I want someone like that, but not necessarily Ebiketie. I'm thinking Bud Dupree because I think I like his pursuit a little bit better at this point. So in front of me is Calais Campbell. Behind me is Arnold Ebiketie. In between me, I'm either thinking Street, and then who's going to be the stunt around is Zach Harrison. I want another person with length, right? He's like 6'5", 6'6", has also long arms, and I think he can get off of a stunt if need be. Now, across from the left tackle, right? Because I want Ebiketie kind of getting a free rush. That's where I'm going to put Lorenzo Carter here as kind of a cleanup guy if I ever decide to like, oh, hey, well, I'm going to back up this way. Nope, I can't do that because then I got those two people that are freakishly athletic. Whereas this guy's freakishly tall and powerful. So if I try to get through to him in that gap, well, then guess what? I'm going to have to deal with his arms, and I might have to deal with Zach Harrison's arms. Or if I bounce around to the outside, then that's where Dupree is going to come in and then be that extra rusher. You can put Dupree, you can put Caden Ellis, you can put Nate Landman, you can put anyone else. I just need them to tackle. I can't have guys like D. Alford, he's not going to be playing anyways. I can't have someone like a safety or like a smaller guy to try to bring this person down because all they do is just dry their hands off of this person's jersey. All right. I don't want to have to deal with that. What I want to deal with is a person that might move but can't step up. It's not a good idea from the back out. So he's going to find two lanes, and if he doesn't find those two lanes or if he doesn't choose correctly, then he's going to get sacked. If that formula gets used consistently, but people run out of like and just get gassed all of a sudden, then we can start using on Yamada in those places where Street would be the guy to push and create the stunt. Everyone with me here?
Yes, we are.
Okay. Do we need a recap?
No, we do not.
Why that's so important is because that is the only way we're going to beat the Cardinals. That's the only way we're going to beat Kyler Murray. If we handle our thing up front in the trenches, then nothing else matters in the back end. Cardinals, maybe like Rondale Moore or whatever, like that's it. Other than that, like they don't have the firepower to keep up with these other teams. And we've seen that for all these other games. So if we just deal with the quarterback, we deal with their entire offense. Now, with this setup against a guy like James Conner as a runner, it still works because then you have guys in the backfield like Nate Landman, Caden Ellis to kind of fit through those gaps and just create the tackles there. And I like that. I want more of that because here's the thing. Despite everything that we kept talking about as far as like, oh, we need more production from offense. We need more things from offense. Our offense, despite everything, gave us 28 points. And when they had the ball last, legitimately, they left the field with the lead. If it wasn't for the defensive effort, we could have won the game. Despite everything. We could have won this game 28-24, but we didn't. And it was because we couldn't contain Josh Dobbs. So we kept him in the game. And why it's so important is to think about this is because this person didn't know his players. This person barely knew the center. This person didn't really know where his receivers are going to be. And it didn't matter because he knew he could run. So when I take that away from another person that's coming back after 355 days or whatever? I forgot the number, but it's well over 300.
I think it's about like a year, about a year. Because
we haven't seen Kyler Murray.
I think he got hurt in week 10 last year or week 11 because I know he got hurt against the Patriots. I think that was week 10.
Yeah, so he's going to come back in a brand new offense to him. Now, he might have been in meetings and whatnot, but his familiarity with everyone else that's around him and with the scheme might still be new to him, even though we're in week 10, right? But it's just like him physically being on the field and taking these extra reps for this particular team that has to now crawl out of a hole with these guys, it's going to be an uphill battle, but it's going to be someone that Kyler Murray is the human bar of soap. All right. He's going to be someone that's capable of trying to drag them out of this mess that they found themselves in. Right. Which is why I can't really talk about any previous games because, dude, if we would have had to face Clayton Tune, dude, this is a free spot on the bingo card for us. Like, but we're not. And
Yeah,
that's
to
what's
be
so
honest,
frustrating about this thing. It was because we can't deal with the quarterback that just led them to have like what 58 yards of total offense against the Browns on
59.
like all
Well,
these turnovers. But it
I
was
think
like
it
out
was.
of 40 something plays. Like that's awful.
I think their longest
So
drive was like in garbage time, and they ended up throwing a pick that drive, or it was a fumble. Something
like
happened.
why
No,
couldn't we face that why couldn't we face that offense?
because you never know. That offense may have went for 350 and 3 touchdowns. How the last 3 weeks, 2 weeks have gone with facing backup quarterbacks. Um, for me
This
though,
is
I
the
think
third time in which we are facing a quarterback that is just being thrust against us and we've had no idea how to deal with.
three. Oh yeah, I do realize. Well,
3 weeks in a row we've had to deal with this kind of situation. And I'm tired of losing to this because the one thing that in which I could have fell back on was our performance of the defense. And now I can't even trust that.
yeah,
So
I think losing Grady was bigger than what we expected it to be. I was like, okay, we still have David and Calais and everything. Now, not saying we haven't been getting pressure, but because we were getting pressure, the problem wasn't us getting pressure on Josh Dobbs. We were getting plenty of pressure on Josh Dobbs. So that's not really the problem. The problem was when we got the Josh Dobbs, we're trying to force more fumbles when we should really be in tackling him high. When the dude is 6'5" and has the build of a running back, why is D Alford that's 5'9", 5'10", 190 trying to tackle Josh Dobbs high and go for the ball? I understand you're trying to make a play, but it's 3rd and 16. Okay, you never know. You might tackle him high. Somebody might come up high. I mean, tackle him low. Somebody might come up high and snatch the ball away. But instead, you're trying to make a play. The play doesn't work. He turns it to Lamar Jackson and goes 20 yards down the field and picks up a first down. They ended up scoring off of that drive. The Bud Dupree at the end of the game where he almost had the sack. I think he was getting held. I seen a video somebody released on Twitter. He was clearly getting held that play, and that should have been called back. But still, he had a chance to get the sack, and he missed the tackle. So it wasn't a problem getting to Josh Dobbs last week, and I don't think it's going to be a problem getting to Kyler Murray this week. The only thing I'm scared of is if Kyler Murray says, "Oh, I got a new knee. This knee is only a 355 days old. Oh, let me see how. Let me test. Or let me run it around the block." And he ends up looking like OG Kyler Murray. That's what I'm afraid of. So I'm praying after all the blown coverages and missed assignments and missed tackles we've had in the last 2 weeks, that for the love of God, if we could just tackle a child. Guys, I want you guys to understand something. I'm 15 and taller than Kyler Murray and nearly weigh as much as him. Kyler's only 185. I'm 160. So that tells you something. And I'm not as fast as him. Of course, Kyler Murray's like a track star. Well, he is a track star. But if you can, and the thing is, if, with him, it's always been if you can get pressure on him from the inside, it kind of it throttles him because he's not big enough to where he can climb up into the pocket and be able to see like that. So it kind of, I mean, you may take that as a joke, but it's literal. Like his old linemen are nearly a foot taller than him. That does not help. Just being honest. Um, but one thing I don't expect this week is for Calais Campbell to be on the outside a lot at the end. Especially with David Onyemata being questionable, and if he does play, he's probably going to be on the snap count. So I expect Calais to be used more on the inside where he's usually supposed to be. Um, but yeah,
well, if not there, then we can use like Taquan Graham.
yeah, somebody. The thing is, we need more speed on the edge. We have the muscle. We have the muscle. We have enough big body guys so where they can get pressure off the edge. It's the speed factor. Now I
Yeah,
know Brian
I've mentioned
Nielsen
this before, like real quick, because like I'm not talking about like speed to get to
quarterback.
the the blocker. No, no, I'm talking about the getting the speed to the
Oh,
quarterback because
yeah.
there requires two bursts of speed, right? You'll notice that Grady Jarrett has it. He will quickly get out of his stance and then beat the offensive lineman. The next burst of speed has to come immediately after that, where he has to get his foot and start gaining acceleration to wherever he needs to go. Right? Some of our people will have the speed to get out of their stance and beat their blocker, but then they just trudge through mud to get to the quarterback. Guys down. This happens right after their block is being shed. So
Yeah. Um, you kind
it's
of
really
notice that
confusing.
it's like Grady doesn't. He isn't the fastest D lineman, but his burst to like get past blocks and to get to the quarterback is what we're kind of missing right now. Um, I just feel like and the thing is with me, and I've been saying this all year. Why is Arnold Ebiketie not starting on at defensive end, or at least taking a lot of rotational snaps, getting to the to the quarterback? I understand you want to use him as a linebacker and put him in coverage. That is not Arnold Ebiketie strong. So he's never been put in coverage before this year. Well, no, we did put him in coverage a little bit last year, but it wasn't like how often we're doing it now. You see this man dropping in coverage at least 10 times a game. That should not be happening. The only time you drop Arnold Ebiketie in the coverage is when it is third and 15, 16 plus, and you're rushing three, and you're just putting eight in the back end. That is the only time that man needs to be put uh in the back end. And I don't know what this is with our defensive ends and Zach Harrison and Calais Campbell jamming guys, literally lining outside and jamming guys, and then having this like delayed blitz. That gotta stop. I'm sorry. That is the most frustrating thing to see Calais Campbell's slow self try to jam a tight end and then run full speed to an offensive lineman and then get put on his knees. That is got to be the most frustrating thing I think I've ever seen in my life. Um, Now maybe that's because we didn't know how to plan for Josh Dobbs because we didn't know how they were going to use Josh Dobbs. Because of course in Arizona they used him with a lot of read options. They used him with a lot of bootlegs and quarterback powers and all of that. He went from doing that to just straight back passing. They weren't doing any read options, bootlegs, sweeps, quarterback powers. And it was just okay. You're either going to hand the ball to Alexander Madison or you're going to do a dump off. Other than that, we're not going to make you do anything else. Now like you said, the run he didn't kill us in the air, and me, you, and Rip Cliff said that in the Discord. He didn't kill us in the air. The dude had 178 yards in the entire game, and most of those yards came off of three big plays that were just blown coverages. Other than that, he didn't really do anything to us in the air. Everything that made his performance look special was us hurting ourselves, shooting ourselves in the foot, missing tackles, letting tackles slip out of our hands, and then
And
making
they
him
would
look like
be
Michael Vick.
yeah, and they would be on like 3rd and 10 plus or 4th and 7. And it's like, dude, we just need this one stop and that's it. We win the game. But we couldn't do it. And then the same scenario appears. Just needs a one stop, couldn't do it. All right. Well, we're gonna be in the same position again. Oh, and now he throws it because Mike Hughes or whatever was like, oh hey, I don't know how to deal with this wide receiver. That was like just doing a little whip rat or whatever. Like,
Also, the thing that people don't really talk about is the turnover points that went into it. We scored 6 points on our turnovers that we forced, two field goals, one of which, and you guys, this is what irritates me the most. One of which was at the 2 yard line, not the five, not the other team's five, not the 50-yard line. You had 4 plays to gain 2 yards. 2 yards.
And I'll tell you what happened. First of all, false start by Chris Lindstrom. That is not like you, buddy. Come on, man. Like, is it because it's Tyler Heineke? Like, are you just trying to get used to his cadence then too? I don't know what's going on. But that put us back to the 7. Then we had a screen. It's like, all right, we almost got to the 1. And then we ran the 1. Jet sweep to Jonnu Smith. And look, I'll say this much. The play still could have worked if the receivers blocking didn't block but pretend to go for a route. If they had just ran forward and did a stutter step or like distract the defensive back, because they weren't going to block them. They didn't have the strength. We didn't have Drake London there. Like, we couldn't use the people that was responsible for making that play work in practice or whatever. No, we had to put like our small guys on these other corners, and they couldn't block a lick.
Also,
So yeah, if you just had them go forward and act as if it was a passing play, then you could have fooled them, and it could have been a 1-yard easy run in, right? And then it was a loss of like 1, and then we ran like a power to or like outside zone to Tyler Algier. It got stuffed with the line. I think he lost like a couple more yards, and then there was our pitiful field goal. So, what were you gonna say?
also, and I've been wondering this. Like you said, that jet sweep to Jonnu Smith could have worked. If we know Kyle Pitts' strength, well, not his big, he can block. But if we know that is not his biggest strength, why in God's name is Kyle Pitts and what's the Andrew Fisk trying to block Anthony
Or Tucker?
Barr and Tucker trying to block Anthony Barr and Danielle Hunter 1-on-1 by themselves and get absolutely blown up? You're telling me the guy that is leading the league in sacks and you have Kyle freaking Pitts blocking him 1-on-1? Are you serious? Are you serious? I could see if you had him chip him and then you leak out and there's nobody guarding him. Oh, it's an open Kyle Pitts touchdown that we only see once in the blue moon. But you had him blocking him 1-on-1, head up, straight up at the goal line when you can't push him back, when you barely, they only have 2 yards to go. Well, really 1 yard because Jonah got it all the way back to the 1 on the screen pass after the false start. So 1 yard. And then after that happens, you run back at Danielle Hunter and Anthony Barr, and it gets blown up again. Now I've always said, guys, run at the DNs. At the time, I don't care who it is. Aaron Donald, Montez Sweat, Josh Allen. I don't care who it is. Run at defensive end. What I mean by that is run at them when you have at least 60 yards of space. Not when they can use every inch of their muscle and they know exactly where you can go. If you were going to do that on the first play. Do it to where you can tire them out after 3 plays. Because after somebody gets pushed at 3 times, 2 to 3 times, you're going to get tired. At that point, I would say give Tyler Algier the ball 4 straight times, and if we don't score, I will take it. I will take it.
At this point, you can also just consider this: run away from the blitz.
That too, you ran straight into it. Now that I see that play, you ran straight into it. You see, before the ball was even hiked, you see Anthony Barr itching there, shifting to that side. So you see that's where they think they know where the ball is going. Now, I've always said we can run the ball well, and people are never going to do it, and they can't stop it. People are stopping it this year because they know they know what our scheme. They know what we're going to run and when we're going to run it and how we're going to run it with each back. They know we're not going to do a sweep play like what we did with Bijan with Tyler Algier, so they're going to start stacking the box. They're going to put their defensive ends instead of stacking them outside. Oh, yeah, we're just going to put them head up. Oh, and Bijan's in the game, or we're going to scoot them outside, put them on the tackle's outside shoulder. And you see it. I can't be the only one that see it. I know Noah's seeing it. I know Rip Cliff's seeing it. I know everybody's seeing it. They know how to defend these backs. So if you're going to do that, switch it up. If you're gonna run power with with Tyler, put Bijan in the backfoot on goal line and let him go take it. I know he's had some fumbling problems, and that I'll issue that later. But still, we got to switch something up. Because, like I said in the Discord, the play calling has been iffy. But if a team can put up 350 to 400 yards a game, and like I'm not talking about passing around, I'm talking about total offense, you're doing something. You're moving the ball downfield. It's just when you get to the goal line, it's like, oh, I got it, I don't got it, and that's got to stop.
Yeah. The other thing to consider is that all those play selections, none of them, like whether there was a pass or run, had anything to do with the actual end zone itself. Like the screen pass was behind the line of scrimmage, right? Like not a single route went to the end zone. So not even our passing concepts touched the end zone. How do you avoid the end zone in such a fashion that we do? Now, you could talk about how other teams can also struggle. It's like, hey, I can think of another team that will constantly go down the field and either get something or get absolutely nothing at all. Like there's no in between. And that's Buffalo, right? They will start from like way back in their own end zone. They will get all these plays and they will get all these big throws and all this other highlight stuff. And then they get in between like either midfield or like right around the no man's land where it's like it's too far away to kick a field goal, but you don't feel comfortable with punting it. So they're just trying to like get out of that slog. The problem is that they stay in that slog because they can't run the ball either. So why it matters here is that, yeah, we're a team that in between the 20s, like, yeah, we can dink and dunk and do all sorts of stuff and get all over the place. And then we just limit our playbook to a scrap heap of just terrible plays. And some of them almost work. Like that's the problem. Like our talent is almost good enough to overcome everything that we have going on. Right? So and I got to think about it in this way too. Because whether like I'm not trying to figure out where everyone stands on Arthur Smith because I don't think most people care. I just think that most people are trying to just like either get through another week, or get through another game, just to kind of
Fire him.
be closer to the day in which the answer will appear. Right.
Not to
So
interrupt you or none, but
yeah,
if I've looked at Twitter all week, really since the game ended. And the sad part about this is fans are hoping we get tailed tomorrow so this man can get out the door. I don't think people understand unless he were to absolutely go 4-13 and lose the rest of the season, and I mean to the Bucks, the Saints, the Cardinals, the Bears. He's not getting fired this year. I need people to get that, whether you like him or not. And I'm 50-50, 75-25 with him right now because I understand what he's going through. And I understand that sometimes it's not on the coaching. The players have to execute too. So, to be honest, it's like 80% of people of the fan base want the man fired. They call him FedEx boy. They want us to lose tomorrow. Then you got the 20% that's like, okay, I don't like him or he's not my favorite, but I still want us to win. I still want us to get to the playoffs. I'm kind of with the 20% right now.
so here's what's going on, and I'm gonna try to use an illustration as best I can. So I'm gonna use a real life story. When I was 15, I was diagnosed with pneumonia, and I was told that several weeks after I initially was showing signs. Um, what it looked like in between there, like weeks 1 through 3, it didn't look like anything suspicious of like a really bad problem. It just looked like a dry cough. And it looked like it was a couple other things that was going on. Like I had a fever but like nobody could really pinpoint what the problem was. So they diagnosed, then said that I didn't have a problem at all. Then the next 3 weeks happened and I lost 35 pounds in just that span of time. And I was like shaking. I was having night sweats. Like it was terrible. I was just suffering everywhere in my body. Like, no, it was way too obvious that something was wrong with me. I ended up going to the ER, and that's when I found out that I had pneumonia. But I was diagnosed 3 weeks before then, and nothing happened because all they said was a dry cough. So take this, and it'll deal with the cough. So where does this come into play? Look, I was diagnosed with something that was really bad, but the signs of it were like simple things in which it was like, oh, well, I'm going to try to do something to fix the symptom, but I'm not fixing the sickness. Right? So when it comes to the Falcons again, where is the difference between what is the symptom and what is the sickness with this team? Because we can diagnose and try to relieve all of these symptoms, but we're still not getting rid of the sickness. So which is which here? What would be your answer to that, Trey?
Thing is with me, I think I think people with, and I think I've said this a couple of times. I think people were looking at the off season, and we're seeing us spend all this money, the most money we have, and from what I've heard in decades. Um, and they're thinking, okay, there should be no adversity, there should be no problems. We should, with how the schedule looks, we should easily be 7-3 by this time. Is what they were, most people thinking. And I looked at it and I was like, okay, um, with how this team is, and still, the question marks we have, what we had. How is Bijan going to work? How is Desmond Ritter going to do? Is Drake London going to take that next step? Is Kyle Pitts going to come back from his surgery and do good? Is the defense going to be better than what it was? Or yeah. Well, to now we have most of those questions, and we are sitting at 4-5, and fans are getting impatient. I understand. No one likes losing. I'm pretty sure Noah does not like. Do you like losing, Noah? Do you like being
Absolutely not.
getting laughed at on Twitter by Saints fans?
I mean, I'm not even on Twitter, so that tells you that.
Instagram and
I don't even
YouTube.
really engage in that.
Yeah,
Like, I am here for the purposes of being here, and then everywhere else that I try to go with my interests.
yeah,
But I don't dwell too much into anything else because I try to separate that from like my own research and whatnot. Like that way, I'm not trying to copy anything. I'm not trying to uh, like be something else because yeah, I have like my own resources, right? But I'm not stealing their things. I'm not stealing this because they don't really talk about the Falcons all that often. So I can't use that on a consistent basis. But that being said, like they give us concepts and they give us like phrasings and they'll give us ideas that we can try to use and then like, all right, well, let's put that logic to us. And that's what I'll try to do every now and then. If not, then I'll just have my own spin on things, which either is successful or not successful. Depends on how you guys view it. So, but yeah, I don't really go into any other spaces. I just try to like, all right, well, what do I see first? What do I have? What do I see the conversations of? And then what can we do to solve the problem? And that's where I'm trying to talk about like, how do we figure out what's the problem versus what's the symptom? Because I don't know if the problem is like turnovers, for example, right? We were talking about that. Is turnovers the problem or is turnovers a symptom of the problem? That's where I'm trying to wrap my head around. I can't answer that question using anything else. Right. So, and that's what we're here. Like
yeah,
we're trying to ask these questions and we're trying to find the answer together. Right. So that's where we are.
yeah.
What do you have to say?
Um, but yeah, I think what people are getting impatient because they see we have 3 times the level of talent we've ever had on the roster since Arthur Smith and Terry Fontenot have been here. And like I said, no one likes losing. I definitely hate losing. I hate it with a passion. So I understand where people are coming from. But if we're going to say fire Arthur Smith or fire Terry Fontenot or find a new owner, because yes, I've seen that in the last week to find a new owner. Um, y'all have got to come up with a better reason than just, oh, it's the play calling. What about the play calling is making you mad? Oh, well, we're not using our stars enough. Well, if you looked at it, we had 9 different receivers touch the ball Sunday. So I understand you're mad that Kyle Pitts isn't having 100 yards a game, or that Bijan isn't popping off or already has 1,000 rushing yards by now. But it is the NFL, okay? And the last time I checked, when we had to key in on one and depend on one guy, when we had Kyle Pitts, this offense struggled more than it succeeded because no one respected anything else we had other than a washed up Cordell Patterson by the time the end of the season came because we overused him from week 1 to week 7 and Kyle Pitts. So now that we're trying to spread the ball out and keep people on their toes and keep it to where people don't know where the ball is going, now y'all are getting mad. And I don't get it. Because if we were force feeding them and the offense is averaging less than what it's averaging now, y'all would be mad. Am I right? Am I wrong? Would y'all be mad if we were force feeding them and everybody's getting over 250 yards worth of yards between all three of those guys, but we're still losing 31-28? Is what's the point of that there?
It
Now,
just
like I
takes me
said,
back to 2015, where Julio Jones was just doing absolutely everything, but we still ended up 8-8.
man had over 1,800 receiving yards, guys. 1,800 receiving yards. And we lost 7 straight games that year after starting off 5-0. So that tells you force feeding your guys isn't always now. I'm not saying that we need to get these guys a touch per game, or saying that the usage of all three of them is acceptable. But saying, okay, Bijan needs to have 25 carries. Oh, Kyle Pitts needs to have 12 targets. Oh, Drake Leonard. Where is all of this gonna go? That's what is this all gonna lead to? Because I've seen people say, oh, well, when Kyle Pitts has over 80 yards, we win the game. Kyle Pitts had over 80 yards in the no, I think he had about 5 catches in that game, or had 80 yards in some game in this year, and we lost that game. I can't remember what that game was. I don't know why. Now, do they need to touch the ball a little bit more? Yes. Do we need to get a little bit better play calling in the red zone? Absolutely. Absolutely. Does the defense need to wrap up when we tackle a quarterback? For the love of God, please. Yes. Does Drake London need to hurry up and come back from that groin injury? Yes. Because you can tell in the
I
last
think he is expecting to play though.
yeah, he's playing tomorrow. But as you can tell, we missed him a lot in the red zone. He has over 12 targets in the red zone. I didn't even know that. That was something I did not even know. I'm going to be honest with you guys. So he is a big red zone target. I mean, the guy's 6'5". He should be a red zone target. So you can tell when he's not in there, it's kind of like what are we supposed to do? Because the last time I seen a tight end, not even a tight end one, but the tight end two get a jet sweep was back in 2020, 2021, when the Browns named David Njoku that end around and it got absolutely obliterated. I think they did that twice. They did that on Monday Night Football against the Bengals and then against us when we played them. Or that may have been 2022. But
Yeah.
yeah, you can tell he's been missed. I don't know, man. It's just after being 4-4, first place, exactly where we were last year. Exactly where we were at last year. 4-4, sitting
The
atop
year
first
before that
place.
too.
The year before that too. And everything started to collapse around this time. We lost 3 straight last year. We lost 4 straight or 5 straight the year before. And We're 4-5 right now. So I understand fans are like, okay, well, maybe this has got to be the year to turn around. Yes, this has got to be the year to turn around. We need some type of improvement to go into, whether that is 9-8, 10-7, 11-6, 12-5, whatever it is. We need some type of improvement. So I know I've been rambling a little bit, and this is kind of a random rant that I've had. I just needed to get it off my chest. Um, but yeah, we need a win in the baddest way tomorrow. And
Yep.
I know Arthur Smith is saying we got the right guys. Yes, we do have the right guys. We have over 50% of our roster has been in the playoffs before. So that tells you, half of our defense has been in the no. Nine out of the 11 players that start right now have been in the playoffs before. The only two exceptions, no, three. The only three exceptions are Richie Grant. No, starting offense. Well, starting defense, my fault. Uh, no, Nate Lemon hasn't been. AJ hasn't been. Jeff hasn't been. Richie hasn't been. But everybody else has. So 7 out of the 11 starters that we have been to the playoffs. So they know what it takes to get there. They know what it takes to win games. The offense, I don't think a single one of them have been in the playoffs other than Caleb.
Jonu?
Yeah, Jonu, Jake Matthews, and Taylor
Mac
Heineke.
Hollins?
Mac didn't. The year Mac was with the Dolphins, they didn't make it.
I mean, Patterson won a Super Bowl, so.
Yeah, but yeah. So you could say five players out of all the players we use. Well, and Scotty Miller, I forgot he won that Super Bowl.
Taylor Heineke, technically, yeah.
Yeah. So, like I said, we have a lot of playoff experience. I know they know how to make it. We just, like I said, we need a win in the baddest way because we cannot go into the bye week into 4-6 and then having to play the Saints the week after. And then also during the bye week, if we do lose, we already know what we're going to hear. Is Arthur Smith need to be fired? Why isn't he using Bijan? Who's going to start the rest of the season? Is the D-line good enough? Who we're going to hire out this? Who we're going to draft? Michael Penix, Caleb Williams, Drake May, Shadur Sanders, Bo Nix. Yeah, I never thought I'd say that one. I've heard someone say we need to draft Bo Nix. Yes, people. Jalen Milmore, J.J. McCarthy. I can go on and on and on. And I would rather much have a great break and not have to deal with that than having to hear that through an entire summer. Well, oh no. They play. My break is after their bye week. So, hey, lucky me.
Yeah, so. And sure, we understand that it's only 5 out of the 17 possible games, but these 5 were out of the last 7 because we started 2-0. So, like, we're not on an upward trend, and that's what's the scary part. Despite most things looking good on the surface, so and first of all, I'm gonna get this out of the way. I'm not SeatGeek. I'm not StubHub. I'm not Ticketmaster. I prefer an end zone spot, but that's about it. I don't know the pricings. I don't know what it can get you the best deals.
They're
We're not
pretty
sponsored by
hefty.
anything else.
Pretty
Yeah,
hefty.
just make sure that you get a home thing, especially when you're going up against that team. Jesus. So yeah, we have to deal with a lot of different scrutiny, right? When I talked about the problem versus the symptoms of the problem, because Desmond Ritter was the easy scapegoat for everyone, right? Like, oh hey, well he didn't play well, so he's causing all these turnovers, so therefore he's the only thing that needs to be changed. He is the sole problem, and everything else is just the symptom of what his wrongdoings is. Well, we swapped them out. And as we see with Taylor Heineke in the same position, like I said, this was not a 2 yard away from the end zone situation with Desmond Ritter. No. If we had that, we probably would have went in because that was a situation in which he's more likely than not going to take a zone read or something, either hand it off to the correct person or run it in. And please hold on to the football. Just make sure that you're crossing the plane, please. I think that we could have got in with him, right? And I think that despite us scoring 28 points, which was the most we've scored so far in any one of these games, I don't think that any of these points were outside of Ritter's possibility, right? So, yeah, the kid's raw. And yeah, the kid will have a turnover here and there. And really, when you don't want it to happen. But Taylor Heineke is nearly the same player, right? So he's not someone that will just immediately plug in all these problems and take care of all the situation because I knew, and I want to say that Trey knows, and most of these other people here at AFN will understand that he was a symptom, but he wasn't the problem in which all these symptoms are causing, right? So I take a look at a symptom of not being able to tackle the quarterback once he's out of the pocket. The problem was that we weren't sealing and getting a good job of containment, which is why I went on that rant earlier. So that was an issue. So if it is something like play calling, well, that affects any quarterback that you put in there, right? So whether or not you want to throw in a new quarterback from the draft class and still keep the same head coach, that doesn't solve the problem of like not being able to score despite having all this talent. Because it's not something that like, oh, well, this person was physically incapable of doing. No, Desmond Ritter's an athlete. All right, he ran a 4.5. He had a good amount of like rushing touchdowns and stuff over in Cincinnati. Like he was someone that could easily move around in the pocket. He was someone that had the wherewithal and the knowledge of like where everyone was at to move around and escape and smartly slide and stuff when he needed to. He just needed to get rid of those fumbles issues, right? In which, yeah, if you solve that, then you can still have yourself a good quarterback with him. Now, where the ceiling lies is kind of unknown. And people think that, well, since we haven't seen a game like CJ Stroud out of him, which, I mean, dude, I didn't know that. I don't even think CJ Stroud knew that he was able to do that. So to pin that expectation on a quarterback for us is just completely absurd, right? We can't expect CJ Stroud to keep doing that kind of game over and over and over again. I mean, I love that the fact that he did that against the Bucks of all teams, but it's just, come on, like we got to have a balance as far as like the expectations here. And if there's no balance, then it doesn't matter what quarterback you throw in there, right? The higher the quarterback is drafted, the higher the expectation is going to be. And even for a third round pick, or even for a guy like Taylor Heineke that's a backup, the expectations are still absurdly high. For what reason? Like, and now you're trying to say that a brand new quarterback will come in here day one and fix every single problem? I'm not buying that right now. Especially when I know that he's not the problem, he is the symptom. Right? So I ask this again. Who is the problem, or what is the problem, and who or what is the symptom? So that is the question that we're going to have to find out when they play the game tomorrow. Because if we can't figure out what the symptom or the problem is when we face a 1-8 Cardinals team, we're never going to find it, especially when we have a bye week. And then we just got to go through the rest of our games. Like, I don't want to have to wait until the bye week to try to figure out, like, if it's just the fact that we can't keep hold of the football, or if it's like a deeper problem that's lurking in here, has been here for a while. I don't know. All right. So we're going to have to deal with that. And before everyone goes away, we got ourselves this to do again. All right. So who's starting first?
Well, not
We
gonna
got a
lie.
Cardinals on here.
I've won the last 2 times, so I'm gonna let you go first this time.
All right. Well, I kind of gave you one that had the college in it, and I was trying to solve that problem, which you didn't win by that way, by the way. You won because I guessed too high for percentage. So I got to control myself here in the setting when, again, if everyone's familiar with the grid and how it works, great. If not, then you're just going to have to watch us play it in order to try to figure out what we're doing here. So I really want to look at that middle square. And I feel like I have people in mind. Like, yeah, there's obvious names. But like I said, this is the first time I'm seeing this grid too, so didn't get any extra preparation out of this. Oh, I'm going to try to clear this up. Okay. So the player must have 10,000 passing yards in their career when paired with the team, must have played at least one game with that team in their career. So, like, if you're thinking of a Panthers quarterback, Cardinals quarterback, or Giants quarterback, they don't necessarily have had to have gained those 10,000 passing yards with that team. That's what that's saying.
Okay, then.
So I'm going to go with this guess then for this slot. As much as I want to get this middle one, I think this is an easier one to try to figure out. So I'm going to get my foot in the door here and go with Derek Anderson, 0.5.
Holy.
No,
well, okay, hold on. Before you even take your next pick, because I know the rules we made. So before you even do your next thing, how do you remember a name like that and a face like that?
Because back in 2007, Derek Anderson was the quarterback, and when he took the Browns to the 10-6 record, they didn't make the playoffs, but that's how I remember the Brown. That's how I remember Derek Anderson. Now after that, I probably could have picked Derek Anderson for the Panthers too. If I remember correctly, but I want to say so. I'm gonna let you go, and then I'm gonna have 2 turns after you. That's how I'm gonna do this rule. That way, it's not like pool.
Okay.
I'm gonna at least give you 1 turn.
Now, I'm not gonna lie. This is probably the most difficult one I've had because everything else I was like kind of familiar with the teams. The only team I'm really familiar on here with is the Panthers and the Giants. I'm gonna be honest with you.
You can't really win with that information here.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. But I do not saying I don't know anything about these teams now though. Know a lot of
No,
players. Know a lot of players.
I wouldn't play this game with you if that was a problem.
Okay. I ain't gonna lie, starting either in the middle or on that side is kind of a cheat code because you can go anywhere with that.
I mean, that's how tic-tac-toe is.
True. Okay. Let's see. I think I have one. I just don't. It's like I always remember these people, but like I don't remember if they played for that certain team too.
Mm-hmm. What square are you thinking of?
I can't tell you that, man.
Yeah. I just got to move the cursor. I got to type the name anyways.
Okay. It's between the Colts and Cardinals player or Cardinals and Bengals player.
All right.
Hmm. Ooh. Okay. I found one. Colts Cardinals Brian Hoyer.
%.
Dang it! I'm so close.
These are almost the same face. Anyways,
Almost look like twins. I see what you're saying. It's just like his head, like his bald head, kind of like points up more, and his is like it points, but it's like straight. Like his head doesn't have like a dent in it or something. And the beards. But take your turns. Take your turns.
hmm. Almost had 10,000 passing yards in their career. Just one game. Okay. I think this rule works.
Okay then. Come on, come on, come on. No, no, no,
Give me
no.
Geno
Dang it.
Smith.
Geno Smith
2%
played.
as well.
He played for the Giants.
Remember the game in which Ben McAdoo benched Eli Manning to end his
Yeah,
streak? That was
yeah.
the quarterback he swapped him out for.
What was that back in 2018, 19? I think that was
Yeah.
18. Yeah, 18. I forgot he played for the Giants because he's been team swapping for like 10 years now. Can't really key in on that man. All right, man. Take your next turn. Might ice the game right here. I'm not gonna lie to you. I mean, either way, you're probably going to because well, I don't know because if it's over 40, what was it, 45%,
Yeah,
50%?
45% that goes to you.
Yeah, yeah,
So it's like, all right, I can't really think of like Jake Delhomme or Cam Newton here.
yeah.
That's a bit too
Cam
obvious.
Newton would probably
Then
be like,
again, there's not a whole ton of quarterbacks to choose from the Panthers since they've only been around since '95. So I'm trying to
I
think
mean,
of someone in between them.
I was about to give you a name. Holy, boy, I was close for that. Whew. Because I'm trying to think if he had 10,000 yards. I don't know if he had 10,000 yards.
Well, I'd rather you not saying it. So,
Yeah, yeah, no,
um,
not doing that one.
I just like it when my answer is more obscure than what other people are thinking.
I'm thinking of like two names right now that you could probably put in that square.
And
I
I'm
don't know.
probably thinking of the same one of the names.
Probably.
Um, but I do like how low of a percentages we're just kind of going around the board. So I don't want to win with something that's like, oh, well, that was an obvious one. So, and again, trying to go back to, and here's the weird thing because Pro Football Reference is a weird site, and as far as like who it associates like playing the game and like starting the game for it. So, like for example, we just had that whole Josh Dobbs game. You know who was credited with the win?
Uh
Jaron Hall.
oh yeah. Oh yeah, since he started.
Yeah, like I don't know if that kind of stuff goes into play here. So, thinking about that, I'm just gonna go with Andy Dalton, 5%. Well, there's my win. Straight filled with quarterbacks. I see.
I'm surprised that wasn't very, very much higher. Like
What was the other
Rocket
name you were thinking of?
Frank Reich.
Yeah. He never crossed my mind. I was thinking of Jimmy Clausen for a second.
What's it because of Cam Newton?
Like the year before, yeah. I don't think he had 10,000 passing yards.
I want to see it. Did Frank Reich have 2,000 passing yards?
Maybe, but
Because he
then
played with
again, like
4 or 5 different
if
teams.
we know him for like playoff stats, and that doesn't consider it here
Yes.
because this is like
Yeah.
regular season stuff.
Yeah. I ain't gonna lie. I wanted to see.
You want to finish this one out just for the fun of it?
Yeah, might as well finish the stream off with it.
I'm gonna let you go next then.
Colts, Giants, Deion Jackson just got drafted this year too. I think.
DEO.
Yeah.
Oh, right here. 21 to 23.
Yeah.
0.6. Ooh. All right. Well, can't mess this up. We got real good things going here. There's a name that I'm really considering here. I just can't remember if he played for the Cardinals. I know he played for the Bengals. But I remember him on another team. Well, we're not playing the game competitively, so I guess I'll say the name. Ray Maualuga.
Who?
The linebacker for the Bengals back in the mid-2000s. He was a linebacker out of USC.
No idea.
He was a part of the whole like USC Texas Rose Bowl.
Still no idea.
Had a bunch of hair and stuff.
I'd have to see his picture. I got to see his picture.
Oh, I'm gonna put it up right now. Well, one of the images kind of gave me. This guy.
Oh. Yeah, I didn't know that was his whole name.
Yeah, Ray Maualuga. I didn't even know he was a Raven. Well, I don't think he's a Cardinal. I knew he went to a bird team, I guess. Let's see here then. And there's got to be another. I'm thinking of like running backs too. Running backs tend to move around a lot.
True.
You got anything else while I'm still thinking?
Cardinals and Bengals players.
it would help if I actually showed you. There we go.
I was more thinking of Giants, Bengals, but I can't think of anybody. Well, actually, no. Did Frank Reich play for the Colts?
The coach for the Colts.
Okay, yeah, then no. I don't really have anybody else for these combos. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Well,
Giants. Yeah, no, don't have anybody.
Geno Atkins. I think he moved, but I don't think he. I think
He
went
played
to
for
the
the Cardinals?
Raiders.
I ain't gonna lie, I forgot he even played in the NFL. That was one of the hardest fall offs I think I've ever seen. He went from like top 5 D tackle in the league to a no name.
Well, another one was Gerald McCoy.
That too. Jared McCoy just. I don't know what happened to him, bro.
Ooh. Ooh. Dang it. I think I got it. I can't confirm it. I'm going to go Frosty Rucker. Yeah, 0.4.
I have no idea who that is. That's Frosty
It's
name.
he's a long-time defensive end. I kind of remember him as like a backup to a couple other teams.
I'm not gonna lie, having the first name Frosty is kind of fly. Just never iced any games.
You'd be surprised what he did in college.
True.
Man, this is a very obvious one for Andy Dalton.
Yeah.
But I already used him here. So
I'm surprised. Oh yeah, that's probably where the highest percentage of him probably is for that category right there.
yeah.
Who else played for the Bengals? I was about to say Trey Hendrickson, but he went from the Saints. Von Bell.
For this one, right?
Yeah.
2 ends. 8%.
I forgot he signed.
Somehow that was the highest out of all of these.
I don't know. Well, I could see how, but I don't know how over the over the Andy Dalton one. That's the one I don't get.
Yeah. All right. Giants, Bengals, and then Colts, Panthers. Part of me wants to think pass rusher again, but
Devin Funches? Who did he play? No, that was Packers.
no, that could work.
He played for the Colts?
I think. Let me put it in.
Wow.
12%. Wow.
I don't know how I remember that, but wow.
All right, one guess. It's down to Giants, Bengals.
This I have completely no idea.
I want to get this perfect.
I was about to say Odell, but he played for the Rams. What corners played for the Giants? Eli Apple.
$62% for him.
Wow.
Well, we got a rarity score of 93 together.
Wow. I didn't know burnt toast was that well known.
Well, when you get memed a lot, that's how.
Wow, true.
There was another one. I think I saw it like over here. Only one team. That's a pretty fun category.
Like the Bears, the Eagles, and the Ravens.
This player only played for the Bears, or this person only played for the Eagles, or this person only played for the Ravens.
Well, Ray Lewis and Ed Reed will only be the ones I can guess for the Ravens.
No, not Ed Reed.
Oh, he played with the Eagles.
No, not the Eagles, but the Jets and Texans.
Yeah. I didn't know the Texans one. I remember the Jets one now.
I think he went to the Texans first.
You know what he did?
Jason Sehorn was the other guy. I don't remember him as a Bengal. That was the problem. You remember Jason Sehorn?
No.
He was the last white corner in the NFL.
What number did he wear?
I think it was 31.
Oh yeah, I think he got cooked by Antonio Brown in one game.
I don't think he played that long.
He didn't.
No, he was like
Is it
early
no? That
2000s.
was a light skinned girl. I mean, a light skinned corner that wear like 30 or 31. That got cooked by Antonio Brown in one game. Yeah.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for that. Final score predictions, please.
And I don't even know what to put because never in my right mind would I think of Josh Dobbs led Vikings room with no Justin Jefferson or KJ Osborne would drop 28 points on us in one half.
By the way, I hope that KJ Osborne's okay because
Oh
I
yeah,
saw the hit and geez, that didn't look good.
I
So
think he
I saw he was able to like get up
get
and
up.
walk
Yeah,
around his surroundings, but as far as like anything else, I haven't heard from him. But I just want to make sure that he's okay, because that could have gone really bad.
fast.
But anybody else that's here with us? What are we thinking?
Score predictions. Anybody that is left here before we end it in the next 2 minutes. Score predictions. Titans, I said 38-7. That was terribly wrong. Last week I said
Or like
27 to
38-10.
yeah, 38 to
I think you
10.
almost said the same score.
Last week I said 35 to 10, then changed it to 27 to 17. It's terribly wrong. This week, man, I'm gonna go 24 to 20. I'm gonna go 24 to 20.
How? I was going to say the same thing.
It's just, man, great minds think alike, and I think we've like been on live so long that we just kind of have that chemistry. But then again, it's just like I can't keep saying we're gonna blow teams out and then we lose to them in the most heartbreaking fashion. So we're gonna say because I haven't predicted a close game since the Jags or maybe it was the Bucks game where I was like I forgot what I said that week. I think it was like 27-20 or something like that, 20 to 17. You're gonna
Boy,
get us
wouldn't that
blown
be
out,
nice?
Bobby.
Wouldn't that be nice, Bobby?
Man, when was the last time? No, yeah, we blew out the Raiders. That was the last time I could not be worried about a game after the third quarter. That was the last stress-free game I had. And I'm being so serious. We've had. I'm being so serious. But yeah, I'm gonna say 24-20. Taylor Heineke has 2 touchdowns. Bijan goes
To
off for
who?
Drake London and Bijan Robinson.
I don't buy that at all.
I don't either. But who else is he gonna pass to? Jonnu Smith
Oh,
might have
come
another.
on. You have ways. You have
Might have another
Michael
60.
Pruitt.
Hey, might have another 6-yard screen up his. You know what? Hey, you never know. You never
You know
know.
what, Van Jefferson? You get it.
Hey. He's been selling us the last 2 weeks. It'd be great for him to have a touchdown. Game winner.
Go
Game
ahead.
winner.
Mac Hollins. I think he still needs his first touchdown, doesn't
I
he?
don't think he's playing tomorrow. He hasn't practiced all week with it.
That is correct. I think he's not playing. Even more surprising if he catches the touchdown then. Patterson.
Demir Bird. Frank Darby.
Oh, you pulled that from the archives.
I don't even think he's dressing. I don't think he's dressed since like week 15 of last year.
You know what? Taylor Heineke receiving touchdown.
Hey, double pass. Let Lefty London throw it to him again. Did a little reverse we did with Matt Ryan back in 2018 against the Bucks. Or 2019. Yeah, that was 2018.
So yeah, just be aware that if you're going to have this kind of like touchdown stats, we need to announce who they're going to so that we can prepare everyone for fantasy the night before.
Oh man, I've lost.
But it's just really tough to try to put, Taylor Heineke in your wide receiver lineup is all.
See, the crazy thing is talking about fantasy, I have lost 3 straight weeks in fantasy Literally benching players that ended up dropping that would have been winning points for me. Tyreek Hill is on a bye week. Patrick Mahomes is on a bye week. Nico Collins is hurt. Who else is hurt? T. Higgins is hurt. Um, Darren Waller is hurt. Um, Kenneth Walker is questionable. Aaron Jones is questionable. My whole fantasy team. Oh, okay. So let's look at the fantasy team for tomorrow. We have Jared Goff, Calvin Ridley, for who the last time he played dropped 1.11 points. George Pickens, who when he last played dropped 0.90 points, 0.90. Aaron Jones, who dropped I think 13 points last week, so thank you, Aaron Jones. Kenneth Walker had 4 points last week. Kyle Pitts had 4 points last week, and Nico Collins is out, and I have no other rod. Oh, nope, gonna put Tyler Algier right there. So, Tyler, I have 3 running backs playing tomorrow, and I have Buffalo's defense playing against Denver and Young Kweku. So, who am I playing tomorrow? Ritter me this. I think that is I forgot who that was in the Discord. But he has Joe Burrow, Amari Cooper, Austin Eckler, Tony Pollard.
Yeah, you're losing. Yeah.
Justin Tucker, San Francisco's defense, and they're playing Jacksonville.
That might not be so bad for you. Meanwhile, I have 2 wins. One of the wins was to you. The other one I feel like I got last week.
I think it
It
was
was like by a couple points. So, yeah. Remember way back when I was the fantasy guy? Yeah, that doesn't apply to me anymore. So, anyways, thank you guys for tuning in.
catch you guys in the future.
I will catch him with mayonnaise in his coffee and that in his mouth. And if I don't get that, then we're going to get more out of this person.
Very
So
much.
stay tuned because that's what should have been this week. But
We'll see you on the
digress.
we'll see you on the bye week, my guys and girls.
Yep. See you then.
Later.